Hello everybody, it's me, Super Mario. Your regular Latin teacher is busy today, so I will do it. Me, Mario. You might be wondering, Mario, aren't you a plumber? What do you know about Latin? Well, Italians speak Italian, which is very close to Latin. In fact, it is one of the only languages today that preserves the practice of long and short syllables. Let's get into the lesson. Woohoo! That was a joke. It's actually me. I'm not going to do that obnoxious voice for the whole video because I want you guys to actually learn. So, let's get right to it. Today we're going to be talking about translation. It's actually a little odd. The sound coming into my right ear is different because it sort of forms this tunnel for noises to bounce off of. So, anyways, what about translation? Translation's easy, right? Wrong. I've seen you guys' test grades. They are very bad. Not that bad. I'm just joking with you guys. But I don't want you to be complacent. You guys know what that means? It means that you think you're good enough. That's not good. You should think that yeah, I'm pretty good, but you're never good enough. That way you never stop pushing yourself. But you guys are in elementary school, so whatever. You should not even know what that word means in like 2 days. Go play on the swings or something. Pokemon Go, is that what you guys like nowadays? Forget it. Let's get right into this. So for today's video, we're going to be using material from Lesson 31, Worksheets 3 and 4 in your workbook, because your actual teacher, the one who shows up in class and doesn't put on stupid costumes, is not here. So you're going to be using this as a reference instead. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, where's the eraser? Here it is. We're going to get right into the core parts of a sentence and how to translate. Okay. When we're translating, we have to think, well, we have sentences in English too, don't we? So why don't we identify the main parts of a sentence in English? Because we're translating, right? From one language to another. If I have a sentence like, the dog runs, what do we have? We have the dog runs. So taking a look at each of these individual words, we have this, which is a noun, this, which is a verb, and this, which is an article adjective. These do not exist in Latin. So in Latin, they would just say, you know, dog runs. Sounds kind of weird, right? But Romans didn't have article adjectives. I don't even know why we do. Anyways, this is what's called the subject noun, meaning it is the subject or the content sort of focus of the sentence. This sentence is about the dog, what the dog's doing. And what is the dog doing? Running, which is this, the main verb. We have subject nouns and verbs as well in Latin, sentence structures and all that. But this is a special kind of verb called intransitive. If you remember, intransitive means it does not take a direct object. An example of a verb that would take a direct object is take. This isn't like the go-to transitive verb or anything, it's just one that I thought of. So let's just say, boy takes dog on a walk or something, but we're focusing on these two words. Boy, subject, noun. Boy. Anyways, boy takes, verb, dog. This now is the direct object. So we have subject, verb, direct object, subject, verb. These are both very common sentence structures that you'll see in your workbooks that also translate over to Latin. So why don't we take a look at that? What I have here is a simplified Latin version of honors exercise sentence number 1. For that exercise, you're going to be doing English to Latin. English to Latin is, in my opinion, a little trickier. So we're going to start with Latin to English. First of all, this sentence has 3 types of words. I'm not going to tell you which one's which yet. One of them is a subject noun, one of them is a direct object, one of them is a verb. When you translate, the first thing you do is look at the verb. You might think, shouldn't I look for the subject noun? Well, remember, there isn't always a subject noun. Sometimes there's what we have called the understood subject. For something like, let's see. This, ambula bat, that in itself is actually a sentence. You look at the bat, which means this is imperfect tense. You look at the T, which means this is third person singular. And then you have ambula, which is walk. This translates to he was walking. And that's why you look at the verb first, because the ending will tell you a lot of things about the subject. It'll tell you is the subject singular or plural? Is the subject first, second, or third person? Which is a big deal, because if it's anything but third person, well, suddenly either it's understood, or you look for the words ego, which means I, or tu, which means you. Moving on, let's apply that logic to this sentence right here. Regnum, fumina habet. Which one of these is a verb? It's habet, from habeo, right? We look at the ending, et. The T means it's third person singular. So why don't we look for a noun that is singular and in the nominative case? Regnum. Being the nominative because this is a second declension neuter noun. So this means the kingdom has. Well, has is a transitive verb because it sounds like it should have an object, right? The kingdom has what? Flumina. What's flumina? Uh-oh. There's a third declension noun right there. Oh, real tricky, real tricky. When is an accusative ending? Well, it is. If you remember the chant for third declension neuter, it goes blank, e, blank, e. I caught myself. Ibus, ibus. So this actually is reverse. Got it? So it's the kingdom has rivers. Okay, good start. So now we're going to try some Latin, English to Latin instead, just so we can kind of get the thought process going both ways. So it's sailors will see the harbor. If we look at it, it's easy to tell what word is which in English, isn't it? Sailors is obviously the subject, noun. See is obviously the verb, with a little will helping in there. Harbor is obviously the direct object. Okay, great. How do we put this into Latin, though? Well, let's think about sailors. That's plural, so we're going to need to use the nominative plural for sailors. Remember, sailor is actually nauta. It's one of those rare masculine nouns in the first declension, one of those exceptions. So we have nautai because it's plural, right? It goes I, being nominative plural. Then we have will see. Well, will tells us that the verb will be future. So what is see? It's video, right? Keep in mind, the ending is dictated by the subject. So what do we know? This is a third person, plural, future verb coming from video. So we have video, the stem, and then what is the third person, plural, future ending? Well, it goes bo bis bit bimus bitis boomt. So the boomt is here. Finally, we have the harbor, which is the direct object. This one's pretty easy. It comes from portus, I think. Yeah, portus, which is second declension. And the accusative singular, because it's just one harbor, will be portum. All right. And that is English to Latin. So now we have this sentence, which is number 3 in your books. It's not written very well, but you have your books. I'll read it out anyways. Good soldiers were preventing great fear. Wait a second. Good? Great? Those are adjectives. Oh, you didn't talk about adjectives. Adjectives are easy. They match the noun they're modifying in 3 things. Number, case, gender. This does not mean they have the same ending, okay? Because you could have a first/second declension adjective modifying a third declension noun. Now they can't have the same ending, or it would be wrong. So what they do instead have, little real mustache hair left on my eyebrow there. What they do instead have is the same number, case, and gender. So we have good soldiers, we're preventing great fear. Subject noun, soldiers, easy. Verb, we're preventing, easy. Direct object, fear, easy. That says D-O, trust me. So then we have good modifying soldiers and great modifying fear. So how do we bring this over to Latin? What's the word for soldiers? Well, it's third declension. It's miles, not miles. It looks like miles, but it's miles. Dictionary form, miles militis. So this is the stem. Soldiers is plural, so we're going to go with I'm waiting for you to say it back to me, but it's milites, right? Because it goes blank, is, ema, ace, umibus, ilus, milites. Good, that's bonus aum, right? They give you the us aum, which is the genitive singular of the masculine, feminine, and neuter, because adjectives themselves do not have gender. They just take whatever gender of the noun they're modifying. Milites is masculine. So the word for good, which is bonus, has to match this in number, case, and gender. Masculine, plural, nominative. So from bonus, it goes us, eo, mo, e, or mis, osi. So it's boni. Now I can understand why this confuses a lot of people. In fact, maybe in this case, it's easier to go from English to Latin, because in English, it's very easy to tell what adjective is modifying what noun. In Latin, it can be a little trickier because you have to analyze each ending of each word to see what goes with what. So at the end, we'll take a look at the Latin sentence by itself and see how different it looks from the English. So we have good soldiers. Then we have were preventing. Were means that this is the imperfect tense. So prevent comes from the word prohibeo, and it's plural subject. So that means it's third person, it's plural, and it's imperfect. So we start with the stem, prohibe. And what is the imperfect third person plural ending? It goes bombas bat is bont. Prohibebant. We're going to go on to the next line here. Great fear. What's fear? Metum. Does that come from, Yep. Metus is actually fourth declension, so watch out for that. Metum. Well, you know, first of all, it's going to be accusative singular, right? Because it's the direct object. So it goes us, ui, metum. And for great, it has to match metum. And again, number, case, gender. Number, singular, case, accusative, gender, masculine. Yeah, masculine. Fourth declension nouns are usually masculine. That's not like an overarching rule, but it's usually the case. Metum, what's great, comes from magnus aum. Magnum. I do want to point out here is that we have metum, magnum. Oh, that's the same ending, so these must be the same declension. Nope, that's a coincidence. This is fourth declension, this is first or second declension. For example, this is third declension, this is first or second declension. So again, adjectives do not match their nouns strictly in ending. They match them in number, case, and gender. Just wanted to point that out, really drive that home. So that's the first three sentences generally. I did the first two without the adjectives, but you guys can figure it out, right? This third one, gave to you. Fourth and fifth, not as hard. Something I will point out for the fourth sentence, though, is that the main verb is beware of. And you might be thinking, oh, this of actually has to do with debts, like of debts, genitive. No, you can treat beware of as the same as if there was no of. So the sentence is, many farmers beware of debts. You could also just treat it as many farmers beware debts. Debts is the direct object still, so don't get too caught up about that. Okay. Going to do it for today's lesson. And for your fun fact / story / history about the Romans, we're going to talk about the Colosseum. It was dedicated, well, it took a long time to build. It's a big thing, right? It's still here today, parts of it. It was created in 70 CE, or AD for all you Christian school kids out there. It was started construction by the Emperor Vespasian, and it was finished by Titus, I believe. Well, he's the one who inaugurated it. I'm sure you all know about the Colosseum. It's where they had gladiator battles. It's where they had gladiator versus animal battles. Sometimes they would flood the Colosseum and do naval battles, if you can believe it or not. The Romans were great engineers. There's little details about the Colosseum that is a big deal to architects and art historians. The column styles are actually not the same. There's 4 levels, so there's 4 different types of columns. Pictures in the video or whatever, but there's 4 levels and there's 4 different types of columns. They increase in complexity as you go up. The first level had Tuscan columns, second it had Ionic columns, then Corinthian, then engaged Corinthian square columns. So there was a lot of work put into it. And you know, as I said, sometimes they would do gladiator versus animal battles. So how would they keep animals? There was actually a little area underneath the battle stage where they would be keeping these animals. But I mean, can you imagine being given the responsibility of watching after the animals? Like, what if the guy who was watching the lions, you know, lost track of them or something? Actually, I do wonder about that. Publius Atticus Gaius Facilius, what is it you seek of me? I thought you were supposed to be tending to the lions for the Colosseum battle today. Actually, about that, kind of lost the lions. What? How could you lose the lions? How are we supposed to have a gladiator battle without any lions? I'm really sorry, sir. I'll go find them. Hardcore. It's the lion. I found the lion. Oh, what a great lesson! That wants to make me like, a comment, and a subscribe. Ooh. Tune in the next time when we tickle some toddlers' tummies.
Okay.
Okay, wait, you did it?
Mm-hmm.
I said say go when you start.
Well.
Okay, I'm confused, hold up. Oh, so you are doing it?
Yeah.
Zoom in right now?
Yeah.
Okay, zoom back out and then redo it.
Okay, we got
I can cut it so you can... I thought you were... Keep it going. Okay, I'll just read. Did you cut it off?